In this episode of Stamp TV, I'm going to introduce two new stamp sets that work so nicely together. The new Timeless Textures and this month's One Free with Three stamp set, Garden Silhouettes. The Timeless Texture stamp set was designed to create beautiful backgrounds that can be easily cut using Nestability's dies or used to embellish other items such as paper flowers. I'm going to start by showing you how I embellish paper flowers using the new Timeless Textures stamp set. I used to think I had to have every color and every pattern flower out there because you never knew what project you were going to do and you had to have the right colors. But now I'm finding that just having a collection of white flowers in my stamp collection can be all that I really need as long as I have some markers and the proper stamp sets to create those textures, and that's where Timeless Textures comes in. I'm starting out with a Copic marker, and I'm using B41. That's called powder blue. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to color this paper flower using the Copic marker. When you use Copic markers to color flowers, you get streak-free color, which is really neat. It's a little bit harder to get that same effect using a water-based marker, so you will want to try, you can try it, it actually gives a nice texture, but if you're looking for streak-free color, you're going to want to use an alcohol-based marker like Copic. Okay. So I've colored that flower in, and what you're going to find too is because the flowers are so thin and they're porous that's going to color the back side of the flower too. So if you're worried about that showing, it'll be completely colored in just by coloring the top. Now I noticed when I saw all the stuff that came out from the CHA that a lot of the new flowers on the market have these beautiful script writings on them. So I created a stamp in the Timeless Textures that's a script. Now I'm going to use some Memento Rich Cocoa ink, and I'm going to ink up this script stamp. Now I would recommend that you use a lighter color flower and a darker color ink unless you're using a more solid ink, an opaque ink or a metallic ink. And then I'm just going to stamp right on top of that flower. Putting a little bit of pressure, and let me grab a piece of paper for underneath, and you can see how pretty that looks up close. Isn't it pretty? It looks just like all those beautiful jars of flowers that are out there. Now I want to embellish that flower, and what I'm going to use is I'm going to use one of the Gina K Designs buttons, and we have these button jars in many, many of our colors. I'm going to find the perfect little button that fits in the center there. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of twine. This is our jute twine. We'll cut some of that off. And these are so easy to make. And if you ever have a time where you feel like you don't have much mojo, you're not really thinking of stamping anything in particular, but you just feel crafty, these are the perfect little things to do. Just get a whole bunch of paper flowers and some markers, and you can create a whole bunch of embellishments that you can put away so that when you do have your card making mojo, you have all these embellishments ready to go. You can see I actually thinned out that piece of twine a little bit because it was a little thick to go through the button. And now I'm just going to tie that off. Get rid of that excess back there. I'm just going to make a little knot on the top. I love it when the twine gets all fuzzy like that. It looks so rustic. And then I'm just going to trim off the excess. And now, using a glue dot, I'm going to put a glue dot right on the back of that button to adhere the button to the flower, like that. And that embellishment can be put in a drawer, and it's ready for use later on when I'm making a card that would work with this color combination. Let me show you a finished card project that I made using the flower, and then I'm going to show you how I stamped the focal image. You can see in this particular card, I made a flower just like the last one, and I just popped it on with a glue dot, and it's the perfect little accent. Now let me show you how I created this textured silhouette flower. Once again, I used one of the texture stamps from the Timeless Textures stamp set, and I have one of the silhouette flower stamps from the Garden Silhouette stamp set. Now, doing a combination of a light ink and a dark ink, I'm going to start with some Memento Pear Tart, and I'm going to ink up my solid flower stamp. Then I'm going to ink up this, it's kind of like a very fine woven burlap, and I'm going to use the rich cocoa ink to ink that up. I want to get that nice and inky. And then I'm going to do the kissing technique. I'm going to take this stamp and I'm going to press it onto my inked up background texture, making sure that I put even pressure. And now I'm going to huff on the surface of the stamp in order to remoisten all the ink and stamp. And let's get a tighter shot there so you can see all that texture. Isn't that pretty? And again, here's how it looks in my finished card project. It's a very elegant stamp, and by using the different textures in the Timeless Textures stamp set, you can create all different kinds of combinations, from this very soft woven look to polka dots or a script. With the new Timeless Textures stamp set and the 1 Free with 3 Garden Silhouettes, you can create beautiful combinations of textured flowers, backgrounds, and embellishments for every card project.